Hello, fellow fight fans. Welcome back to the #1 MMA fan channel in the world. Welcome back to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. And it's good to see you guys back this past weekend for the watch along. And we had a fantastic pay-per-view card as well with a couple of finishes. All right, we've had more finishes this year in a single fight card, but you know, we had some good results. Welcome on in. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on the channel as well, and the notifications bell, because you gotta catch up for when these live shows are at and when all the content's coming your way that we provide you guys. Lots of fun stuff heading your way. We've got UFC London, which will be next week, so you don't want to miss out on everything that will be coming your way around that week. But first, we got to talk about what some of the things that happened this past weekend and some of the gossip as well to follow from the weekend. And I'm going to bring up some talking points. We'll talk about Ankalaev accepting an immediate rematch with Alex Pereira following his win this past weekend. We'll talk about Tom Aspinall providing a little bit of an update on the John Jones situation. We'll talk about Paddy Pimblett outlining his future plans, because I believe he spoke to somebody. I can't remember who it was, but we'll talk about some of the things that he said during that interview. We'll talk about what's next for Mauricio, Ruffy, as well as some banging future fights that I want to predict with you guys tonight for the both winners and losers. So lots more to come, and lots to get through. And maybe we'll even touch upon, I kind of want to touch upon some of the BJ Penn story as well that came out as well. So maybe perhaps we'll leave that towards the back end of the show. George Mary's in the house. It says, be with you boys in 10 minutes. Got a leak. Well, at least you let us know what you're doing, George. Good to see you. And are you about to leave work to go head home? Because usually you join us whilst you're in the car. Or are you at home right now? Let us know. Brother B's in the house. Good afternoon, JK from Dallas. Good brother B. Good to see you in the house. Did you manage to catch the fights this past weekend? Because I don't believe you popped into the watch along. But yeah, man, brother B, we've got to catch up on a lot of things. I've got to hear some of your thoughts on some of the results, some of the performances, and some future fights that you would like to see as well. Can they beat some of the predictions that I'm going to make? George Murray says Ruffy versus Money Moicano. Wow. I like that one. We'll get into that one. It's not one that was on my list for various reasons. Not a leak, as in going toilet. My washing machine is pissing water. The typical British saying of like, gotta go for a leak is another way of saying I need to go to the toilet. For those folks in the US who aren't aware of that, but George actually has a legit leak. That's unfortunate, George. I mean, look, your van gets broken into a couple of months back. Your washing machine's now falling apart. What's going on in the Merry household? That's all I gotta know. That's all I gotta say. Smash a like on the video, gents. Let's get into then some of the results. Anyone catch any prelims? I actually didn't. Well, to be fair, no. I tuned in just as Bruno Ferreira was submitting Armen Petrosian, I believe. Great win for him. I predicted that he was going to get the knockout in that one, but submission really surprised me, and he's going to be on to big things now, I believe. Thanks, JK. I know I'm a mess. Mate, it's all right. We're going to get through this thing called life together, brother. Don't worry. You've got this under control. You're a handyman. You've got it under control. You're going to fix it in no time. I believe in you, bro. I believe in you. Nice early fight card. This is it actually. I've not actually checked the times for this week. I think it has. I think it's been moved forward by an hour, right? Because both guys are in European soil, which is good, but not early enough though, is it? Really? Hey ho. The real early one is the following weekend. All right, let's recap then some of the events from the main card. Yeah, and I didn't really get to see any of the other prelims, I'm afraid. Call me casual all you want, I don't care. Guy's got things to do. Guy needs his sleep before these big watch-alongs, man. Main card's just an absolute killer at 3 o'clock in the morning, so gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Kicking things off then, actually, wrong bit. Kicking things off then on the main card was an impressive display from Mauricio Ruffy. Right, what a knockout this was against Bobby Green in the first round. Spinning wheel kick. Now, was it not the knockout of the year so far? Because I believe it is. Name one KO that would come even close. I can't at the top of my head. Yes, I've got recency bias. Yes, I have got short-term memory, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the chats or in the comment section if there is one that could top this knockout. And look, we've got the rest of the year still to come as well, but I believe it probably will be in our top 5 come the end of the year. I have that level of confidence in it. I'm a bit unfortunate for Bobby Green, or King Green, sorry. I'm interested to see if Green can keep his hands up next time around, you know. He's got that flowy style, hands are loose, likes to pop shot. Against the dynamic kicker in Mauricio Ruffy, who I like to call the 2013 Conor McGregor, man, he's on to some big things next. But quick question for you guys. It's a similar question to what Wales to New Jersey asked us during the live watch along this past weekend. Who's the weakest out of the fighting nerds? Gene Silva, Carl Bahalio, Carlos Prates, or Mauricio Ruffy? Can you even name one? Because I can't. I found it really difficult. You could argue it's Carl Bahalio, but his striking's been coming on quite well recently. Gene Silva, Carlos Prates, and Mauricio Ruffy are all strikers. Bahalio is the odd one out of the 4. Some clever lot would probably mention other names that are in that camp, but these are like the 4 guys that are just tearing through things at the moment in their respected divisions. And Gene Silva's got big things against Bryce Mitchell coming up soon. Carlos Prates is going to have a big fight. Carl Bahalio is knocking on the door for a title shot at the moment. So I want to hear the weakest link out of them. Also, can you rank them out of 5? From 1 to 5, can you rank them? Can you put them in a position? Because I'm struggling. I honestly am. I can't, like, maybe 5 Gene Silva, 4 Carl Bahalio, 3 Maurice. I don't know. Sorry, 4. Did I say 5? I meant 4. Have I missed a fighting nerd? No, I haven't, have I? Okay, 1 to 4. I would go 4. Yeah, 4 Gene Silva, 3 Carl Bahalio, 2 Mauricio Ruffy, 1 Carlos Prates. That's what I would do anyway. In terms of fights coming up for these guys, I'd actually give, and I'm not going to lie to you, I would actually give you King Green 2 options. Nazim Sadikov, who's currently 10-1 as a pro, coming off of a doctor stoppage win against Ismail Bonfim last month. It's a difficult one for King Green, another rising contender. Sadikov, like, there's so many top guys just outside of this ranking. It's unreal. Like, lightweight is popping off in 2025. There's a few that have just entered. You've got Mauricio. You got come on, brain. Ignacio Bahamondes has just entered the rankings. We'll get into that in just a sec. You've got the likes of Joel Alvarez, who's on a bit of a tear at the moment. We've got Mauricio Ruffy, who's waiting out there. Nazim Sadikov. Like, the list goes on. And I got a feeling that there's going to be big things for Mauricio Ruffy next. The other option for King Green on my list, which I think is a better suited fight for him. The UFC would doing him dirty, giving him Sadikov, in my opinion. Guy's quite well rounded, but he also does deserve a bit of a veteran next. So there's that element to it as well. But if you're talking about pairing up a veteran versus a veteran, give King Green Michael Johnson. That's what I would say. It makes sense. Like, you've got both guys who like to throw down. Johnson's on a 2-fight win streak, coming off of a knockout against Otman Azaitar. Why not let him slug it out, man? That's potential fight of the night right there. It could very well be a headline of a prelim, perhaps, just to get people to buy the main card. If not, you stick that co-main event for a fight night. That's what I would say. My option, Mauricio Ruffy, there's a reason why I've led this to last now out of this fight. I'll bring up the rankings for you guys as well to check out, because we're going to be heading to the lightweight division more in this one. Mauricio Ruffy has got to fight Rafael Fiziev next. Rafael Fiziev, mate. It's got to happen. Because, now tell me, does this fight get your dick hard? It does, mate. It makes you hard. It's an all-out slugfest on paper, guaranteed. The UFC would be absolute fools if they don't make this fight. Yes, I have an alternative option for Fiziev, which will come a little bit later on, which the UFC could look at. But after a highlight reel knockout like that, and Ruffy's on a tear at the moment, right? How many is he on in a row now? We're going to have a look. He is on, mate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak. The decision win to Yontop. Admittedly, I picked Ruffy via decision at first because I thought, well, we went the distance against Yontop. And okay, Yontop may have cracked him in that fight, and against an experienced guy, I was like, meh, it'll be a decision. His finish against Jamie Malarkey was pretty damn impressive. Kickstarted the UFC career with 5 straight knockouts. Mate, let it happen, bro. Rafael Fiziev, Mauricio Ruffy, book that damn thing now. Like I said, we'll head on to talking about more about the rankings in the lightweight division shortly. JK coming in like Santa. Mate, this is what I do. This is what I do with these matchups. I put a lot of thought into these, and I'm like, this is what fight fans want to see. Like, let's just be real. Let's start tweeting the UFC, tweeting it out there that we make decent matchups over here on this show. We do. And you guys help me out in the chats as well. With sometimes you guys think of better ones than I do. You outplay me sometimes, and that's what it's all about, coming to these shows, isn't it? That's what it's out about. Yeah, that's all I've got really on that fight. Let's head on back then to talk about the second fight of the main card between Amanda Lemos and Ismin. I think it's Ismin Lucindo. I pronunciations are not my strong point. I've not heard that first name or not paid attention to that first name being read out properly. But hey ho, a win for Amanda Lemos. Gets back into it now. Her grappling defense held up this time around, and she was confident in dishing out damage from the top position against quite a slick grappler. And what we said in the watch along when we were breaking this fight down is that Lemos has fallen short against strong wrestlers in the past, or gals who can wrestle really well, like your Weili Zhangs and your Tatiana. Was it not Tatiana Suarez? Who else was it? It was Mackenzie. No, she beat Mackenzie Dern. She lost against Jandiroba, who's more of a jiu-jitsu player than a wrestler. But it made you think, Well, this fight against Lucindo makes a lot of sense because Lucindo is probably a bit smaller in frame in comparison to a Jandiroba, but she also doesn't possess the same level of wrestling ability as a Zhang Weili. But for Lemos, can she now build from this win and remain in the top 5 of the division? If we look at the rankings here, only one change. For some reason, Amanda Ribas has gone up and overtaken Lucindo. Maybe that's an option for Lucindo. That's not the one that I've got, however. I'm going to bring up my rankings page. I like to use this one to talk about future matchups as well. Jandiroba is currently booked against Yan Zhounan. So Lemos could very well fight either of those gals down the line, but it's not going to happen just yet. So the option I've got for Amanda Lemos is Tatiana Suarez. Siri, why did we just do something? This would be a huge win for her if she was to get it done against Suarez. However, like Zhang, can she stuff the takedown threat and avoid submission game of Tatiana Suarez? Now, Suarez did go the full 5 rounds against Zhang Weili not too long ago. Maybe timing makes sense for this fight to happen. Other than that, it's very difficult to pair Lemos up against anyone because she's beaten Mackenzie Dern in number 6. She's lost against Jessica Andrade, who is, however, going to be fighting Jasmine Jasdavicius at UFC 315. If there is a fallout in that fight, perhaps, maybe Lemos can step in and save the day. I'm sure she would love to get one back over Andrade because Andrade submitted her with that standing rear naked choke, which was like mad that she was able to pull it off against such a taller fighter as well. So, it's very difficult for Lemos. Yeah, she's not fought Ribas, but Ribas is coming off a loss. So what's next for then Ismin Lucindo? She passed the test against an experienced fighter in Marina Rodriguez, but fell short this time around. She'll learn from this fight and get back to it. She's only 23 years old. She's got a lot to learn still in the game. And I think, I've kind of been a little bit harsh on her in this one. I've given her someone like Gillian Robertson, who's another veteran who's racked up 3-fight win streak at the moment. Last 2 have been by decision, though. I'd like to see Robertson's fighting Marina Rodriguez. I did not notice that earlier when putting these matchups together. In that case, then maybe Lucindo versus Ribas makes a lot of sense. They both come off of a loss. Put it on a fight night. Job done. There you go. I've outdone myself in this one. Yeah, Robertson versus Rodriguez is a fun one. Rodriguez got to work on the takedown defense this time around. Robertson's looking really impressive, but Robertson's only 29. I actually thought she was older than that. I can't lie. I'm sorry, Gillian. It's just because she's been around the game for quite some time. She's been in the UFC since like 2017. She made a proper UFC debut in 2018. Came off the Ultimate Fighter in 2017. So, and she's fought like the who's who as well: Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Barber, Courtney Casey, Talia Santos, Miranda Maverick, JJ Aldrich, Garpova. Like, she lost. Her last loss was against Tabitha Ricci. That was back in 2023. But TKO winning against Pauliana Viana. Michelle Waterson win by decision. Luana Pinheiro, probably her most impressive performance, maybe in that last one. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. I will eat my hat. But yeah, anything else? Pop in the chats, pop in the comment section. Don't forget to hit a like on the video, guys, if you are impressed with these future matchups that we want to make here. Heading on back then to our third fight of the main card, where Inicio Bahamondes made quick work of Jalen Turner. I think I put decision on this fight as well. First round, triangle choke. I keep saying we don't see a lot of triangle chokes these days, but Bahamondes picking up his second career submission win this past weekend, and he's been focusing on rounding out his skill set lately, and he promises to be a problem in this division. He's been doing a lot of work with Bilal Muhammad. We're clearly seeing it. Heading into this week, I said, do not sleep on this guy's ground game. Admittedly, I said, like, his wrestling's coming along. He didn't. I don't think he secured a takedown officially. I think it might have been from a scramble or a Jalen Turner takedown, which led to the submission. I can't remember now. But yeah, to pull off a sub off your back against Turner, who's got a few submission wins in the UFC himself. Hats off, man. Big things coming his way as well, too. The main fight that I want to give him, back to the lightweight division, would be number 8, Mateusz Gamrot, who's coming off of a loss. Like, you've got a few losses in there. Moicano, Dariush, Gamrot, Chandler. Chandler's booked against Paddy Pimblett. That's happening very soon. George Merry mentioned earlier about Ruffy versus Moicano. I like that option. However, I still hope the UFC rebook Moicano versus Dariush. You know? Otherwise, why is Dariush not been rebooked to fight? Because he was forced to withdraw from that UFC 311 card. So I would rebook Moicano Dariush personally. And then do Ignacio Bahamondes versus Mateusz Gamrot, who is somebody a bit more experienced, 24-3 as a professional, won no contest. That last loss against Dan Hooker at UFC 305 was sad to see, but he has beaten somebody in as long and awkward as Bahamondes in the past, and that was Jalen Turner. So Gamrot can get the job done for sure. His wrestling and his scrambling ability is decent enough to avoid any ground game from Bahamondes. The ultimate question is, can he close the distance and grab a hold of him? He's got to make that fight ugly for Bahamondes. Don't let him stick on the outside, use his kicks and those long-range punches of his to dictate the fight. It would be a big step for him. He kind of deserves it. 3-fight win streak. Arguably, you could say that Ruffy, the UFC could grant Ruffy a higher step than Bahamondes because he's coming off of that spectacular knockout and people are talking about him more, which does make sense. However, you know, if you're going to do Ruffy versus Gamrot, possibly striker versus grappler scenario, it's doable. And look, then after you beat Gamrot, if you're Ruffy, you're off. You're doing a similar thing to Carlos Prates. And look, don't get me wrong, we could very well see this year Mauricio Ruffy take off in a similar fashion to what Carlos Prates did last year. So, like, I'm not mad at that fight, but the reason why I want to see Ruffy versus Fiziev, it's fair as well. Bahamondes is now ranked. Ruffy isn't. And Ruffy versus Fiziev is just a much better fight for fans. So, I don't know. There's a lot to debate there. There's a lot to debate. Open up to the floor to the guys in the chats. George Murray says, I think Ruffy versus Chilean, new rank versus new rank. Okay, you want to pair these guys up? I thought about it. I think, you know, the UFC have done this kind of thing before when they booked Gamrot versus Sarukian, because I was like, hang on, both of these guys are rising in this division. Like, why are you pairing them up? So it's possible, but don't know. Zamrock in the house, who says, if you could book a fight between anyone past and or present, who would you want to see go the rounds? Book a fight. Anyone past And or present. Ooh, past. I mean, in the past for me, it was always GSP against Anderson Silva because that was the good one that got away, or Brock Lesnar against Fedor Emelianenko, or maybe Cain Velasquez against Fedor Emelianenko. That's another option as well. Bringing Fedor over to the UFC was such a bit of a miss. Fun ones in the lightweight division, perhaps. Habib against someone like a Charles Oliveira, I think would have been a fantastic fight. Featherweight, Volk versus Jose Aldo. I mean, it depends. Jose Aldo at the time, I guess. I'm just going through divisions, spurting them out now. John Jones against Tom Aspinall. Yeah, that's going to be one that's going to be coming soon. That's probably one I'm looking forward to most in terms of present. But yes, thank you, Zamarok, for the question. George Murray says, Faziev versus Gamrot 2 needs running back. I like that option. I do want to see that an outcome in that fight, but then you're giving Faziev a shot against somebody who's ranked above him and he's coming off a loss. I'm just going to bring up now, I want to bring up the list of people in this division. Tapology do a really good job of putting together like not all time, but like the current like rankings, but like extended to throughout everyone in the world, basically. And I kind of want to check who is in the lightweight division. There we go. Yeah. So if I'm going to do something clever now. I can. No, I can't. Can't do it. Can he do it? Can he do it? You can just about see the names here, but some of the guys that I'm really excited to see make waves in this division, Chase Hooper being one of them. You've got Mauricio Ruffy. You've got people like Ludovic Klein, who's on a bit of a tear at the moment. Faraz ZM is on a tear at the moment. Ignacio Barjon-Mendez, 3-fight win streak we just talked about now. Joel Alvarez, Grant Dawson. I mean, all of these guys could very well land a place into the rankings this year. Depending on the matchups, depending on if they stay healthy. Let's head on back. So, look, it's exciting times for the lightweight division. There were talks about maybe extending the rankings. I don't know what you guys think about that. Do you think the UFC should extend the rankings beyond the usual 15 places? I think they should. I think it should be at least 20 plus. You can go more than that. I think it helps more fighters get a bit of a name for themselves, I guess. And those people that are just hanging out outside to make a name for himself and a case for a shot at people higher. Yeah, I really want to see that. Really want to see that. As for Jalen Turner, then, I've got one option for him. Mateusz Rebecki, who's just beat Orobai back in October. However, Turner may have come away from that fight unhurt this past weekend. So maybe that makes sense. That's kind of my thought, but Rebecki could very well get booked up pretty soon. Been out for some time since October. Been a little while. The UFC could very well reschedule the bout that he was meant to have against Joel Alvarez. Both guys are just outside of the ranking, so Joel Alvarez, 3-fight win streak, all finishes. I would like to see him fight Benoit Saint-Denis, though. That's why I've not mentioned Benoit Saint-Denis thus far. So smash a like on the video if you agree with these matchups. Open to all comments. But I've got to move on. Got to move on to the fourth fight, the co-main event. Justin Gaethje picking up the unanimous decision win against Rafael Fiziev for the second time, and I got a little bit of deja vu watching this fight. I can't lie. Fiziev wasn't as aggressive in the first round and clearly wasn't in top condition. We kind of saw that. He did fade a lot sooner than he did, I believe, in the first fight. And the first fight, he started off, you know, not, I wouldn't say wild, like I said, aggressive, and put his punctuation on that first round. Question is, in terms of Justin Gaethje, yes, it was a great performance from him. It wasn't the original fight that he was booked, but can Gaethje fans get excited about a potential title fight next? My answer to that is no. Is this case strong enough? In my opinion, I don't think it is. Someone got across to come off of a win against Fiziev last minute. You know, there's a lot of talks about Islam Makhachev taking on Ilia Topuria. There's also talks of Arman Tsarukyan fighting Charles Oliveira. Tsarukyan even came out actually today and he revealed that he'd be open to fight either Oliveira or Justin Gaethje. If you're the UFC, Gaethje versus Tsarukyan would be great. They have not fought each other, and that would decide the true number one contender. Because Islam's not fought Gaethje. However, with Gaethje, the Gaethje versus Islam option is similar to the Poirier one, in my opinion, because we saw him lose to Khabib. Like, only because of that, you know? But then if you're doing Gaethje versus Tsarukyan, then what do you do with Charles Oliveira? That's a big question. Unless the UFC decide to do Charles Oliveira versus Conor McGregor. But are we ready to talk about Conor McGregor yet? Getting back in the mix? Not really. So, and look, there's even talks about Conor McGregor and Ilia Topuria at the moment as well. And if that was going to be looked at and is the case, then you're going to do Makhachev versus Oliveira too. Oh, I don't know. Oi oi, Wales, oi oi son, good to see you in the chats, and let me know. I want to see what fights you want to make next. Are you interested in seeing Justin Gaethje versus Arman Tsarukyan, or are you interested on running it back or try and rebook it? The Dan Hooker fight, because a lot of fight fans were excited to see that one. I too, and it did feel like a big hole was torn through the fight card when Dan Hooker pulled out. But Hooker's got to heal up his hand. Maybe time-wise could work out. I don't know. Not 100% sure how long Hooker is out for. But what do you guys think of it? Do you want to see Gaethje fight Tsarukyan? Do you want to see Gaethje fight Dan Hooker? Either way, I think they're both solid fights for the UFC to make. I don't know about you guys. George says, back on the road, call out, job, washing machine, fix now, time to fix a front door. Ah, good stuff, George. On the grind late at night, man. This is crazy. I wonder what time you start. It's a long day, bro. Wales wants to rebook the Hooker fight. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because otherwise, then what are you doing for Dan Hooker then? I guess he opens up for... who do you do? Because there isn't really anyone else, unless you want to do Dan Hooker against Charles Oliveira. I don't know. Works out best for him. Zamrock says, how long is Hooker expected to be out for? Good question. Dan Hooker injury. I actually don't know. I do sparring, as I do some hook throwing bombs. Just got caught one of the boys on top of the dome with my knuckles. This is a quote from Dan Hooker. CT scan. I don't think there's anything. Undergo surgery. This was 3rd of March. This article came out. I go to some of it. I can't see it in here. Yeah. It's like it shouldn't be too. Surely it shouldn't be too long, right? It's just a broken hand. Hands mend quick, right? I don't know. I'm no doctor. Anyhow, we'll find out. Maybe timing wise, it makes sense because Gaethje's just gone like a fallout war with Fiziev. George Murray reckons 5 months though. Is it actually? See, George Murray pays attention to the news, the articles. I don't. I'm too busy trying to like be super analytical and watch back all of these fights throughout the week so I can bring you in-depth breakdowns during the watch long. You know, that's my excuse, I'm afraid. And obviously preparing shows like this and running the social media for the channel. But hey ho, smash a like on the video, guys, for these comments. Excellent stuff so far. Where are we at now? Talking about what's next for Rafael Fiziev. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to see the Ruffy fight, but this is such a big setback for him. Again, 3-fight losing skid now. But I wouldn't say he can never put himself into title contention. I still have hope because I like seeing Fiziev fight. He's, how old is he? 32. There's still a bit of time left for him. And look, he's lost to Gaethje twice and then had a freakish accident injury against Gamrot. So it's possible. It is possible. Smash like on the video if you want to see Rafael Fiziev get back into some kind of contention, or at least that title contention fight or fight that can get him into that position. Fiziev now, he's 12-4 as a pro. So, yeah, came into UFC with 1 loss on his resume. If you're going to be harsh to him and you're the UFC, you could very well give him Grant Dawson. As you can see there, he's in at number 14. Fiziev in at number 11. Dawson's a wrestler. 2 of his last 3 wins, he won by decision. And his last win was against Diego Pereira back in January. Ferreira's always been one of these guys who's been hanging out just outside the rankings as well. He's a stud. Been around the game for a while. That was back in January. So Dawson, Fiziev could be a good one, but does the UFC want to push Grant Dawson? They could very well do Benoit Saint-Denis versus Grant Dawson, but then if that's the case, then what are you doing for Joel Alvarez? You know? I don't know. George Murray says Khabib versus Prime Tony. That was probably referring to Zamrock's previous question when he asked about the fight you'd want to make past or present. That's another one. Yeah, I mean, the one that got away, they tried to rebooking that thing about 5 times. It never went through. George Murray says 7:30 a.m. start, JK, 3 kids to feed now. Jeez, Lord. George Murray, the work doesn't stop. It's people like you deserves a clap and a pat on the shoulder. I mean, even more than that, just a beer in general, because to hold that kind of lifestyle down, bro, you're crazy. That's insane. That's insane. I barely gets a break. But do you get good holiday? That's the question. I mean, you're self-employed, right? So surely you take holiday when you want. But yeah, man, take long breaks, bro, with kids. Like it. All right, let's move on then. We're going to talk about the main event, and then we're going to talk about some of the topical things that came out of this past weekend. Few news things. Update on the John Jones, Tom Aspinall situation. We'll talk about Paddy Pimblett outlining his ideal future, and we'll maybe end things by... I mean, it's got a bit of a down... Actually, no, we'll start with the BJ Penn conversation, and then we'll get into the better things, because I want to end things on a bit of a downer. So, yeah, smash a like on the video. Much more coming your way, and let's talk about, then, the main events... Magomed Ankalaev picking up the unanimous decision win against Alex Pereira. We scored rounds 2, 3, and 4 to Ankalaev and had him winning the fight. I think others felt it was a lot closer than that. I don't know, man. I felt Ankalaev won the fight. Pretty fair. But I don't know what you guys thought about Alex Pereira's overall performance. Do you think he fought like a guy who was coming into the fight with injuries? Perhaps. There was something going around social media. I wasn't able to dig it out about his coach, Pino Cruz, reckoned that he came in with a couple of injuries, but I don't know how. I have not chased the source, find out if it's actually true or not. It kind of did in a way, but then at the same time, were we not rooting for Pereira to get the knockout win? Like, we were watching the fight the whole time, waiting for that killer shot. You know? I thought Ankalaev actually fought a good fight. Because he made those adjustments in round 2. And he came out a lot more aggressive. Round 1 was Pereira's round, hands down. He was dictating the fight, keeping Ankalaev on the outside, tagging the body, using that lead low kick that he does so well to try and set up that power left hook of his. But yeah, the adjustment that Ankalaev made really kind of threw Pereira off a little bit. And I guess the knock that everyone has on Ankalaev's performance was, you know, there was a lot of clinching against the cage. But Ankalaev did what he needed to do to get the win. However, he was 0-12 on takedown attempts, which wasn't great. And a lot of people are arguing, saying that he was stalling and Pereira should have won the fight. But at the same time, did Pereira do anything super significant in rounds 2, 3, and 4 to suggest that he should have stolen the round if Ankalaev was stalling for a period of time? Because I didn't think he did, if I'm honest. And yeah, okay, mate, you could say because of the stalling. I don't think there was too much control time. Excuse me, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Ankalaev tweeted after this fight and said, it was an honor sharing the cage with you. You are a great champion, and your team and your coaches have a lot of class. Let's run it back anytime you want. I think it's pretty clear what the UFC wants to do next. Ankalaev sounds like he's open to it. Let's make it happen, right? Because what else is going to happen in this division? Realistically, I think there's some matchups that need to play out. Yuri Prohaska does open up the opportunity for him to get another title shot, because the win against Jamal Hill, he looked better. He did, right? But that would be 3 title fights in the last 2 years. Really? Like, I know Prohaska's up there, but I kind of want to see more, because I didn't think that he deserved the rematch against Pereira in the first place. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I just got to see more from Prohaska. But, you know, I've always wanted to see Prohaska versus Jan Blachowicz. But we're going to see Jan Blachowicz against Carlos Ulberg next week. A lot of questions are going to be there. Ulberg goes out there, starches Blachowicz. You've got a new contender there. But if you're going to run back that Ankalaev fight, then I think, I'm pretty sure I said this in previous Aftermath, that Prohaska versus the winner of Blachowicz versus Ulberg makes a lot of sense. The winner of that fight will then fight for the belt, regardless of whether it's Ankalaev or Pereira. But then if Pereira beats Ankalaev, you're going to get a third fight, aren't you? So, I don't know. George Murray reckons rather a lay-in than a pat on the back. Holiday is governed by my missus, who is a teacher. I see. Yeah, it's a funny one, that, isn't it? Difficult. Teachers get, like, the designated time off at certain periods, but it's expensive during those periods. That's a shame, isn't it? Wales says Alex looked gun-shy. In a lot of ways, yeah. And that's what's crazy. Ankalaev makes people gun-shy. It's very weird. He's got such an odd style for a Sambo guy. It's like he's more of a kickboxer than a Sambo guy. Sambo is such a fallback for him, and it's kind of says a lot about his overall ability, doesn't it? I predicted him to be champion, I think, in 2021, but that was before Alex Pereira made the jump to light heavyweight. And a lot of things were unfortunate in making him get to that point. And like, I get, he's not everyone's cup of tea to watch. George Murray says, people saying Alex won based on takedown defense needs to get off the end of his Corey and realize it's MMA, not kickboxing. Very true, George. Glad it happened because it means a rematch and potentially a trilogy. Yeah. Wales says you see Dana White's face. Yeah, mate, Dana was not happy. Dana was livid with that. He was like, damn it, like the big fight could have happened. And look, I said to you guys in the breakdown show, didn't I? If you are a Tom Aspinall fan, you've got to be rooting for Magomed Ankalaev, and because Pereira Jones would have been a potential matchup for the UFC to make, I don't see that happening now. So that kind of, we'll get more on Tom Aspinall in just a sec. So yeah. If Pereira's got to go out there and he's got to put on a better display, and maybe we want to see Pereira at 100% fight Ankalaev and see what the outcome is. Pereira needs a knockout finish, but then if it's a knockout finish, do we then get the trilogy, And I think contenders are going to start stacking in this division if that's the case, But yeah, what do you reckon of Alex Pereira's performance, guys? I think it could have been better, but hey ho. That is it. All right, guys, awesome stuff. Excellent chats thus far. Can't wait to get your opinions now on the next segment of the show where we talk about some of the news stuff. Head on in here. That's just a shot of the rankings. I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. Oh, it's kind of playing. Hang on. Shut up, BJ Penn. We don't want to hear you swear on this channel because you get us demonetized. Yeah, it came out that BJ Penn is claiming a woman named Lorraine Abai, something like that, has stolen his 97-year-old mother, whose name is Lorraine Shin, her identity in an attempt to steal his family's fortune. Claims her family and Hawaiian government murdered his mum and brother, sold his $2.5 million house, and is threatening to call the police. So the woman's threatening, his mum is threatening to call the police on him, basically. And he says, this lady right here, look at her ass and legs. She's acting like my 79-year-old mother, but she's not my 79-year-old mother. And he reckons if you Google this name, Lorraine Abai, a picture of his house apparently shows up online. And you know what? This is really sad to see right here. To me, this is pretty clear that BJ Penn is suffering from early stages of Alzheimer's, which isn't great, because a member of my family is basically suffering from the same, and it's like they're making up scenarios in their head, or they're seeing a completely different reality. This is basically what's happening in BJ Penn's mind right now, which makes us think about CTE in the sport of MMA again. And surely this needs to be brought up in topic once again, because it's not been brought up for a little while. This could be your favorite fighter down the line, guys. This is a brutal sport that we watch. Okay, it's not as brutal in terms of head trauma in comparison to boxing. But look, seeing a legend like BJ Penn do this is not great to see, And BJ Penn should have left the sport a lot earlier than he did. He shouldn't have fought the likes of Rory McDonald, Nick Diaz, who absolutely pieced him up. What else? I mean, he went on a massive losing skid. Okay, it wasn't like Tony Ferguson level of losing skid, but it weren't too far off. Career. Oh, actually, maybe it was. I'm sorry I can't show you guys. Oh, so stretch it there. You can. Look, there we go. Look, there we go. Look, like Clay Guida, decision. Ryan Hall, heel hook. Dennis Seaver, Yair Rodriguez. Let's see, look, Yair Rodriguez at the time, young kid. Frankie Edgar for TKO at featherweight just wasn't right at his age. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 losses in a row. You know, it's not good because, you know, we want to remember BJ Penn for the phenom that he was back in the day, the lightweight champ who was just running through people. Diego Sanchez, Kenny Florian, Sean Shirk, Joe Stevenson, the finishes the guy was on was just insane. You know, he had a crack at trying to get double champ status. Well, he did earn double champ status when he beat Matt Hughes, but he tried it again when he challenged GSP, but GSP was just way too big for him at the time. And you know, we gotta remember BJ Penn for those reasons, not for this one, I'm afraid. Let's clear that down then. And talk about the next topic. Quick chat, bruh. That's wild. So Zamarok, like, saying the government have switched your mum out is insane. Wales says, wait, what? Is there any truth behind what BJ is saying? I've not looked into it. But it's a pretty wild call, right? The pretty wild call, saying that the government have murdered your mum and brother. What we've not seen in this clip is a picture of his brother. Like, I remember seeing BJ Penn's mum back when BJ Penn was fighting, but like that was ages ago now. Like, people change, you know, people lose weight, people either get skinnier, people look older, like, you know. George Murray says losing to Ryan Hall is the same as Norton Ape. Oh, damn. Throwing shade at Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall not fought in a minute. Yeah, man. Not good to see. Not good. But, you know, didn't want to end the show like that. I nearly did. But we'll talk about some more stuff. Let's talk about then an update on the John Jones versus Tom Aspinall situation. Tom Aspinall on his YouTube channel said this. He said that's off the table now, and he's referring to the fight Alex Pereira versus John Jones at heavyweight or any other fight. Aspinall, he also went on to say, I guess he could still fight him at light heavy, but it won't be for a title. I don't think John Jones would drop back down to light heavyweight, so I gotta disagree with what Tom's saying there. He also later went on to say, John, there's only one thing to do: sign the contract and let's get a date going. I know we saw last night Dana White was talking. Everything is now done on John's side, and the UFC now have to find a date and a venue, place, location, so we're waiting for that. We've got some good news coming soon, hopefully. So there's a lot of confidence now in Tom Aspinall that the John Jones fight is going to take place. The question on everyone's mind at the moment is will it happen during International Fight Week? Will it happen towards the end of the year? Because we know John Jones likes to fight towards the end of the year. You know, I hope it's International Fight Week, because International Fight Week is always in June. That's always a big fight on. Last year, they tried to put on Conor McGregor against Michael Chandler. That fell through. They're probably not going to rely on Conor McGregor again for that place. To do John Jones versus Tom Aspinall in the summer, and then bring your Islam Makhachev versus Tabora to Abu Dhabi in October. That would be my guess. Yeah, I mean, to have both in the summer would be insane, right? We'll be off to a decent summer, but then what fight are you bringing to Abu Dhabi in October if you've returned to Abu Dhabi? Because usually they do. More than likely, is it? Well, Samrock says in regard to that. George Murray says, so is it him losing his mind or is it a legit story? Oh, okay. Guys, yeah, I going to the Japan thing. I don't know, man. I'll look into it further. George Murray says, nah. Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall. Oh man, hopefully we get some more clarity next week. I mean, surely Tom's going to be around UFC London. If we bump into him, we're all going to be asking that question, aren't we? He is going to have, his mind's going to be full of fans coming at him, asking for updates on the John Jones situation. Maybe we can try and get something out of it. I don't know. If we bump into him, we'll see. Wales says it's got to happen. End of the year, I'd say. John is going to try get as much time as he can. Get ready for Mind Games too. Oh, 100%. And I feel like John wasn't signing on the dotted line because he wanted to find out the outcome of the fight this past weekend. If Alex Pereira had beaten Magomed Ankalaev, I was guaranteeing that he'd be wanting to fight Alex Pereira instead of Tom Aspinall. We all saw it coming from mile off. John, you ain't fooling us. And now you've got no choice because the Pereira fight doesn't sell. DC was also saying that he felt now we don't want to see Alex Pereira at heavyweight because heavyweights would probably manhandle him. And look, I kind of knew that anyway, but look, the spectacle that is Alex Pereira, this huge knockout machine against John Jones, one of the greatest to ever do it, sells massive pay-per-views and brings over casual fans and even people who aren't fans of the sport would tune in to watch that fight. So, you can't blame John for kind of sitting on the fence a little bit, but look, now's your time, bro. You got to fight Tom Aspinall. Give Tom a shot at something he deserves, which is the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. And the UK have an opportunity now to get another legit champion under their belts. George says, what holds more, MSG or T-Mobile? That's the big question. I don't know. MSG is... I actually don't know. Good question. George Murray. Let's have a look, shall we? T-Mobile Arena. It apparently holds 20,000. Yeah, basically 20 concerts, 12 to 20,000. MSG bigger. Madison Square Garden holds 20,000. Boxing just over 20,000. They're about the same. To be fair. Either's good. I think the UFC would rather do it, but yeah, they've done MSG before with John Jones, haven't they? Zamrock says, how much longer is John gonna last? He's pushing 40, right? He is pushing 40. It's one more fight. I've been saying this. He's got one left left in him that he wants to do, because I can't see him doing Aspinall and then Pereira if Pereira was to beat Ankalaev. I mean, for John, beating Aspinall, someone who's young, very athletic for heavyweight, would be huge for someone at his age, right? I still think that John Jones might actually be an underdog in that. I'm not even kidding. So for John to get past Aspinall would be insane, but then do people really want to see then Jones versus Pereira? I think Jones might be open to still doing one more, but if he loses, surely that's it. You know? And look, Previously, John has really played down this idea of fighting Tom Aspinall. He really doesn't want to do it because he knows that he could very well tarnish his legacy. Well, I didn't think he'd tarnish his legacy. All right, I'll backtrack on that one. But he knows that he could lose that fight. Like, he knows it. You know? And he'd rather retire on top, similar to what a GSP did. And GSP was very smart at identifying when the competition was catching up and he wasn't getting any younger. So John's doing the same thing. He's playing it smart. It's a lose-lose for Jones, says Zamarot. It kind of is. And I think he's requested huge amounts of money from the UFC, so he'll get a payday. But the thing is with John Jones, he's such a competitor. And I think the fans have really got to him with this fight. They've really got under his skin, I believe. And that's why he's going to be forced to take it. Because he wants to prove fans wrong. He's such a competitor, but I can see it backfiring though. George says, but they ain't done Tom versus Jones at MSG. I think it was meant to say, bet they haven't. No, they haven't. No, yeah, I think MSG is probably better. I'd rather see MSG than T-Mobile Arena. MSG is iconic, isn't it? And Aspinall's gaining some steam. He's probably not he's not Alex Pereira levels of popularity, admittedly, but look, Aspinall's he's running through people at heavyweight. He can sell, the UFC can sell this fight massively, man. I can't wait. Can't wait. Get more comments in about this fight if you want. We'll get to them towards the end, but we'll move on now to talk about the other thing. Oops, my bad. Was Paddy Pimblett outlining his future now, having spoken to, I think it was it the Schmo? No, it wasn't Schmo, it was someone else. And one of the big quotes that came out of that interview was this one. He said, obviously, everyone wants the Conor fight, but personally, my plan is to fight a top 5 opponent, then fight for the belt. And then I don't care who they are as well. To be honest, top 5 opponent, fight for the belt. And then my first title defense could be Conor McGregor at Anfield. Then that is perfect because that's where the money is at Anfield, me and Conor. He also said, but obviously I do want to batter hand sanitizer boy. He's referring to Ilia Topuria. I want to show him how small he is and show him that he's got little man syndrome. So he's another one that I'd love to fight. So he's laid out a bit of a roadmap there. He's fighting Michael Chandler very soon, and I do see him potentially winning that fight by submission. I think Paddy Pimblett needs to win that fight by submission because the UFC could really sell a fight against Islam Makhachev. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to upset a lot of fans here. If he subs Chandler, fight someone like a Gaethje, subs him, then you're not looking at Islam Makhachev's toughest test in the lightweight division. Because Paddy Pimblett's good off of his back. Islam Makhachev's got that Sambo style, top heavy pressure, grind you out, submit you from top. Paddy Pimblett is also big dude for lightweight. We know that Islam Makhachev cuts a lot of weight to get to lightweight. But I guess the question also is, how many more fights does Islam Makhachev have at this weight class? Is it 1? Is it 2? If it's 2, maybe the UFC could squeeze in a Paddy Pimblett fight. But realistically, you gotta move up. Paddy though, I think he's got to beat Michael Chandler. and he's got to beat someone like a Gaethje after that, in my opinion. I think he can beat Chandler. Admittedly, I've fallen on my sword a little bit here because in the past I have said that I didn't think that Paddy Pimblett reaches top 10. But in his recent fights, I've noticed that he's come into them looking a lot thicker, a lot more bulkier, stronger. I think that's kind of helped him in recent performances. And it's similar to what Makhachev's been able to do and be successful at, right? So that's what I'm saying. So yeah. Any more on that? You know, Makhachev could very well fight Ilia Topuria, but personally, yes, it's kind of almost like a champ versus champ fight, even though Topuria is vacating the featherweight belt. But Makhachev's going to be way bigger for Topuria. It's just kind of almost a pointless fight for me. Look, I'll probably get excited a bit when it's made, because the selling point for that fight is, whoa, like, Topuria's knocked out Volk, he's knocked out Holloway. Holloway was this guy who no one could knock out, and he did that, and now he could fight someone like a Makhachev and be a two-time champion. But yeah. George Murray says if he finishes Mike, he'll do what a lot of big hitters didn't do. That is true. Michael Chandler hasn't got like the best of fight IQs, I feel, and that's why the UFC have paired Pimblett up with Chandler. In my opinion, Chandler's just going like, the way I see this fight playing out is, I think Chandler will have a successful round 1 on the feet. He might crack Paddy, but I think in round 2, I think in an exchange, Chandler might go for a takedown, because look, Chandler's Chandler. He's going to go for a takedown and get subbed. That's what is going to happen. And I think people are still going to be hating on Paddy Pimblett by the end of the night. People are going to say, oh, but Chandler was beating you and then blah, blah, blah. Yeah, shut up. Here's this triangle. Yeah, shut up. Here's this rear naked choke. That's what I can see, man. That's what I can see. That's my take on that fight. And I can't wait to see it. It's going to happen real soon. All right. Cool. Awesome stuff, guys, in the chats. Thanks for chiming in as always. We'll take this back to the home screen now and talk about this coming weekend. Make sure you tune in to the next watch along. It'll be at a much earlier time, so make sure you got the notifications bell rang on our channel. Don't watch alone, watch along, as we like to say here. George says Ilia hasn't really done enough to warrant going straight to Islam. I think top 3 opponent for first fit. Maybe he gets Oliveira then. If he gets Oliveira, that goes by it. Love you, bro, says Zemrock. Love you too, brother. And yeah, much love to all of you guys in the chats. I will definitely see you this weekend for that watch along. Smash a like on the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. See you soon.